afternoon, everyone. So today I want to give my viewers a new concept of English classes, that is communication basics. We all have come across this term several times in our life, and we all know the meaning of communication and the importance and significance of communication in our life. So why communication is essential? Let me just brief you up before showing you my presentation. Now, suppose you are a teacher or you may be a student and you don't want to attend the classes. The classes are conducted in online mode. So you just need to drop a message. This piece of information is vital because it will help you to communicate with that particular teacher or with the student. If you cannot attend the class on that day, on that particular day, maybe you are having some sort of important work, maybe you are ill or something can happen. So in the professional place, it's highly recommended. I mean, it is highly professional. It's a professional approach, we can say in other way, that to communicate with people is very important in our life. Why? Because so that no misunderstanding creeps between the two, between the two persons who are talking with each other. That is in a teacher-student relationship, especially when the student are taking different parts of the country that attending classes. It may be in offline mode, it may be in online mode. Always it is not absolutely necessary that in online mode only communication is important. In offline mode also, communication is essential. Secondly, I want to tell you something. Those who are working in the professional field, in the service sector, they also need to communicate to the people. Why? Because communication is important for the purpose of developing a basic understanding, which is very important in our life. I hope you all know the meaning that understanding only builds and creates a good relationship. Vivekananda has said when he went to deliver his famous lecture in Chicago that it creates and builds a good relationship through only emission of words which comes out from our mouth. And it also breaks and destroys the relationship. So communication in the same way is very essential, because absence of communication can lead to several problems, can lead to lack of understanding, and a lot of issues can come up in your professional place, in your workplace, in your home, wherever you are, maybe in your friendly relationship also. So that is why today I'm going to share to my viewers a particular presentation regarding basics of communication. I hope seeing the 10 effective rules, which we call the 10 P's of communication, they can come to an understanding why it is important, how do we communicate, and why should we communicate. As I told you earlier, to develop a good understanding so that there is no miscommunication and a close and a good relationship, that is effective relationship, is built. We need communication in our life, which is very essential. And that is why I want to share with my viewers this particular PPT. So let me present the screen. So in this screen, you all can see certain guides. Communication basic is the topic, but there are different types of communication which I want to tell you. That communication may be like through verbal communication or in different ways. Okay, visual communication. I want to share with you all certain simple rules for an effective presentation. So let us see one by one. First of all, you all need to know, if you're in a public meeting, in a public program, and you're delivering your speech, so what you need to do, you all need to know the level of education. What I mean to say is that whatever topic you're giving information, you need to have a good idea about that particular topic. Suppose you're saying something about globalization and the public is not aware of that particular term, then to make the public aware of that particular term, you need to present your ideas. You need to know the level of education. If you go to the village and in the rural areas, and there if you are saying something regarding globalization, naturally the people will not understand because it is beyond their knowledge. So the level of education of the people, psychological needs, the background from which they come from, everything is very important. So first and foremost is that in public speaking, for effective communication, that is the simple rules for an effective presentation and for communication basics, I mean the basic idea of communication. Whenever you're communicating, you drop a message which is beyond my understanding. So I should be able to understand your message. Similarly, when you're presenting your ideas, you need to know the level of knowledge of your audience. Now there's another slide which represents, like, this is mainly applicable for the school children, for the young students who want to communicate to the teachers, or maybe by sending a particular symbol or whatever, if they're happy or if they're having any sort of feeling. So sometimes they express the emotions through different emojis, we say. Okay. Now we can also say some stories for purpose of communication or to be in the public platform. Thirdly, I want to tell something about the body language and appearance. Whenever you're communicating, now if you're in face-to-face communication, in the office, you're presenting your ideas, you're communicating with the clients who have come to visit your office. They want to listen to your verbal speech and expression. So the way you need to stand in a particular position, you need to communicate the ideas properly. So the way you stand, the way you speak, it really counts. Okay. The fifth point is regarding rapport. In marketing term, we call it repositioning. Repositioning means what? Repositioning means creating an image. Whenever a new product is introduced in the market, there are several competitors. Today, in the telephone industry, the food sector, and in different sectors, we see that there are so many competitors, that a lot of threats are also being faced. So whenever a new product is introduced in the market, you need to demonstrate your product, or you need to introduce your product in such a way. There are 4 P's in marketing term: price, place, promotion, and people. Okay. So these 4 P's are very important. Why? Because you need to create an image which is called repositioning. It is creating an appeal in the mind of the people. So as in case of marketing, similarly in case of communication also, when you're presenting your ideas, need to follow certain rules in presenting any effective presentation. When you're communicating to the public, you need to create a rapport. You need to create an appeal in the mind of the public. I think it is known to all of you, or most of you, like in history we have studied about the famous Roman emperor Julius Caesar, who ruled in Italy, I mean the capital of Italy, Rome. It was some BC, I don't exactly remember the date. I should not lie to you. But when he was assassinated, his nephew, he took the, I mean, he avenged the death of his uncle through words. First of all, he enraged the common people of Rome through verbal expression, that is through his speech. He was a good orator. And being in the public platform, from there henceforth, this public speaking emerged. He enraged in the minds of the people that Caesar was assassinated brutally with the help of with certain conspirators who hatched a conspiracy because they didn't want him to rule. Because he was a good public speaker, so the people got influenced through his speech. I just now gave you a few minutes back the example of the famous leader. India has given birth to several leaders, our country. We are proud of that. And we know all about Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda has also given a world famous lecture in Chicago. When he was hurled stones, people threw stones at him, people hurt him, and his forehead was bleeding. Only one sentence of his speech made the people stunned. They become spellbound. He just addressed the meeting by saying, "My brothers and sisters of America." And the people who are hurling abuses at him, who are throwing stones at him, they became spellbound, and they just sat down to listen to his speech. So that is the way you can create an appeal. Your first sentence should create an appeal so that the public, they get a lot of applause from the public whenever you're in a public program. So similarly, when you're presenting your ideas by means of communicating your ideas in the professional sector, I mean in the office, wherever you're delivering your ideas, you need to present it in a structured way, and you need to create a rapport, that is called an image, okay, in the mind of the people. Now, the most important thing is the pitch, tone, voice. It cannot be changed because these are God gifted. We cannot change your voice, but certainly the tone is an important matter, because the way we speak, it creates an appeal. The attitude is very important in life. What is the purpose of education if you're not able to help the poor and the needy? If we show a bad attitude towards the people who really require or need our help, always we are having some sort of ego. The feeling of ego within us, we are not humble. So I think education is not only confined to the studying certain chapters based on certain syllabus and you're giving just a speech on that. It is that the way you deal with the people, how effectively you're helping the people, and in the professional sector, how well we are communicating so that your ideas are reaching to millions of people, okay, so that the whole world comes to know about you in one day. So they're great orators, were born in a country. A famous movie was also made, The King's Speech, which showed that the king was totally embarrassed. He was in a state of embarrassment because he was stammering, because he had to address millions of people when he just went up on the stage. But his wife helped him in the long run and ultimately succeeded. That was the end of the movie, which portrayed that the king had succeeded in creating an image in the mind of the people. Millions of people were listening because that time television was not invented, radio was a common factor. And he got a lot of appraisal. Imagine the person who was stammering, he got a lot of appraisal. Okay, so that is why we need to communicate properly. Through our communication, through our words, through attitude, it's very easy to build a relationship. A relationship can get destroyed within a minute because of words. Certain words which are emitted from our mouth are very important. And as per Hindu mythology, we know that there are 7 chakras, and Vishuddhi chakra, which is left side of your neck. Okay, that is the abode of Lord Krishna, which says that the bitterness of your words, your expression of the words which come out from your mouth, words once uttered. The same thing we can say, like time and tide wait for no man. Words once uttered cannot be drawn back until and unless you develop the idea of forgiveness. Okay, that I'm really apologizing because I said those words. Forgiveness is also a great virtue. We have learned, we have seen in history, we have studied that Christ, being a Lord himself, he also forgave some people. When he was at the time of, when he was getting crucified, at the time of crucifixion of Christ, he said that, please forgive them, Lord, because they know not what they are doing. So it's also a great virtue. So communication can come in our life in different ways. Be in a public speech. In the midst of public speech, when you're delivering your ideas, you need to impart that ideas in such ways, impart those ideas to the people so that they can get an appeal from you. They're really influenced by your speech. Okay. They learn something from your speech. Now, to end up my presentation and my lecture for today, I just want to tell you that 3 important things are needed. First, your subject you need to know. Then get your subject into yourself. And lastly, to get your subject into the heart of the audience. Like Mark Antony's words reached the ears, reached the hearts of millions of people. And that is why the common people of Rome, they became enraged and they took a vow to avenge the death of Caesar, who was innocently killed. We don't use the term killed. Here I can use a specific term which will help you for your vocab also, like assassination. Assassination is the word which is used for the murder of any leader or any king or queen. We don't say that she's murdered or she's killed. Any leader or any international leader, national leader, king or queen, we say that she's assassinated. Okay. So in the words of Alexander Gregg, we find that we need to know the subject thoroughly whenever we are presenting our ideas. And we should always try to avoid all sorts of possible distraction. And we should make a proper eye contact with the people, because suppose I'm telling you something today, taking the class, I cannot look down and say in this way because you will not understand what the teacher is saying. Similarly, on the side of on behalf of the student, they also need to maintain a proper contact. Okay, so these certain principles I wanted to deliver to my audience. I hope you all might find this video useful, and it can be effective for you also. You can gain something from it. So that is what I wanted to say. Thank you. If you all feel, you all can accordingly subscribe. Thank you.